Welcome to the show where we talk about whatever we want, whenever we want, and nobody cares.
Hi, I'm Eli, and this is my brother and co-host Joshua, and
This is Podcast. Hey guys, hope you're having a beautiful day. And this has actually been kind of an interesting week. Of course, as you all know, it was 4th of July weekend we just came off of. So, any good memories about this past 4th of July?
I worked 8 hours. That's about it. I mean,
Sorry.
we really didn't do that much. We didn't go and see the fireworks. We didn't.
I rarely do.
We didn't have this, a big shebang or anything. We went to mom and dad's, and you guys cooked out while I was at work. But really, other than that, there really wasn't much to it, to be honest.
Well, Michelle and I have never been big never been big crowds people. I'm not saying we don't do things that are out in crowds. We just, we're kind of homebodies, so we really don't ever do fireworks. We did one year with Simon, who was really little, but
as far as it goes, anyways, fireworks are fireworks. I've seen fireworks a lot in my life. I don't necessarily feel the need to see every set of fireworks within a 20-mile radius of me, so.
What's funny is our first apartment together, Michelle and I, our very first apartment together, we were literally like 2 blocks from the fairgrounds where they shoot the fireworks off. And oftentimes we would we'd walk down there and Andrew would skateboard, or we'd fly kites with Andrew or whatever. This was when he was quite a bit younger. He was probably 8 or so. Of course we had our first child, I'm sorry, not our first child. Michelle had her first pregnancy with Simon.
Yeah.
And we were getting ready to move from that apartment to a new apartment because we needed we needed a bigger space. We needed a 3-bedroom place. And Simon was born July 8th, and that's only 4 days after 4th of July. And I remember being in our apartment, and we just sat in the living room. She just laid on the couch, we could hear the fireworks popping off, and she was very pregnant. Just a little memory there, little anecdote about 4th of July. That means Simon's birthday is coming up. That's right.
In just a few days here.
Yep, in just a few days.
And then Andrew's is soon after that. Andrew's is on the 13th.
Yep, my oldest son was born on July
Friday
the 13th.
2001.
Which a lot of, I guess he said recently, a lot of his friends don't believe that, and so then they have to go get a calendar, or they get on their phones and they flip back to where July was in 2001.
Wow,
you really were born on Friday the 13th. So, and then subsequently what's been interesting is every sport he's played, he's subsequently gotten the number 13 on his jersey or on his t-shirt or whatever. When he played soccer, he was number 13. When he was in basketball, he was number 13. He's subsequently gotten, so he's kind of just made that his lucky number.
Which is interesting, because most people consider it an unlucky number.
Right. Except for this sport, now he wrestles, and there's no number in wrestling, so so we celebrated Andrew's birthday actually a couple days ago because he's getting ready to go to wrestling camp at Kent State. So he's getting ready to go to camp, and he wanted to enjoy his stuff before he went to camp, so we went ahead, we did a little early celebration. And we're doing Simon's birthday this Friday. So
yes, we are.
So do you have any good birthday memories, anything that sticks out in your mind?
Not really. I mean, obviously I've had I've had 20 birthdays. Well, sort of 21, I guess, because I've had 20 because I'm 20 years old, and then the actual birthday itself, so I technically had 21, because when you're born, that's your first birthday. But you're 0 years old.
But you don't have a birthday party for that.
I haven't had I haven't had a lot of birthday parties at all. Mom and Dad weren't really the birthday party type, and that's fine. I remember one time I got a call from a friend saying, "Hey, I'm gonna pick you up in a little bit. Let's go do something." I'm like, "Okay." And then he took Sam and I to Burger King, and we had this little birthday party. They had a little cake and all that. So
Wow.
got a birthday party from him, but I remember one time Sam and I had asked for it was way back when we were into Yu-Gi-Oh. Those are the days. We asked Mom and Dad for dual discs. If you don't know what dual discs are, the thing that they use with the cards and all that. But we asked Mom and Dad for the dual discs. You know, that was the big toy at the time for people who really like that kind of stuff. And Mom and Dad on my birthday, they brought in these big trash bags. Like, it looked like it was full of stuff. I'm like, oh my god, they got us dual discs or whatever. Because they didn't want to wrap them, whatever. I don't know what the situation was that year, but they didn't wrap them. They wrap anything. They brought in these big trash bags, and I was so pumped. I'm like, oh my god, they got me what I wanted. I open it up, and it's art supplies. There's paint, and there was pencils, there was paper, and there's canvases.
That's hilarious.
Oh my lord. Now, of course, that Christmas, Sam and I did end up getting dual discs. There's a picture that Mom shows everybody of me standing there in my underwear with a dual disc, like,
like, yes, I have the power. I can stand around my underwear.
So yeah, that's those are the days. That's just about it. I mean, I obviously have a lot of birthday memories, but
you know, there's nothing particular that jumps to mind. You know, now my birthday usually gets forgotten. Well, my birthday falls on December 22nd, right?
Which is right before
Christmas. And I remember being a kid in school, and everybody back in the day, kids would have a birthday party at school. They would bring cupcakes in and stuff. Well, Christmas vacation only started on like the 20th when I was a kid, so I never got to actually have a birthday in school because it would be right, during Christmas break.
Yeah.
So now primarily my birthday gets forgotten. Grandma usually slips me a 50 at Christmas time, like, oh yeah, by the way, happy birthday. My birthday generally gets forgotten, and that's fine. And even here at my home, it kind of does, just because we're busy getting the kids ready for Christmas, and then of course Luke's birthday is the 21st, so now that's one more thing.
Of all the things, Andrew was born Friday the 13th. Luke was born December 21st, 2012, the day the world was supposed to end. Yeah, I always tell people that it's the day that it was the beginning of the end.
The beginning of the end, you're right.
That is indeed another funny kind of.
Yeah, it is kind of weird. My kids
poor Simon doesn't have anything special.
It's just July 8th.
As far as we know, I mean, I guess maybe we should go look back.
Find out what
on Friday we should go back on Today in History and see if anything interesting happened on that day. So,
like, oh, Hitler was born. Oh shit!
Damn it!
No. So. Yeah, my birthday generally gets forgotten in the getting Luke ready for his birthday, getting our three kids to for Christmas, taking care of them. My birthday always gets forgotten. That's fine.
I never forgot.
Although my 20th birthday.
Oh yeah,
on my 20th birthday, Mom calls me up and she's like, "Happy 21st." Now I knew it was the 20th. But because she said it was the 21st, it kind of got lodged in my head that it was the 21st.
Sure.
I was like, oh, thanks. And she's like, how about I take you out for lunch? She's like, okay, that would be great. So she takes me out to lunch to Fiesta Mexicana, or now it's Fiesta Tropicana.
And that's it's a popular.
It's a very popular
place.
A very very popular Mexican place here in town. Very authentic Mexican food.
Tex-Mex. But go on.
No, they got some popular Mexican dishes, straight up Mexican dishes. La Huacana.
Okay, go on.
So anyway, so we go, and she's like, "Hey, you want margarita?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." And so she buys me a margarita, and I hand my ID over to the guy, and the guy's like, "Yeah, that you're not 21. I'm sorry, I can't serve you." And Mom's like, "Yeah, he is." And the whole time I'm trying to do math, he's like, well, maybe Mom was wrong. And she starts she kind of gets, not in his face, but she kind of is like, I gave birth to him. I know when he was born. He was like, okay. He brings me a margarita. We drink it. It's not until later that day that
You really did.
that Michelle and I had just started dating. And she wishes me a happy birthday. Wishes me a happy 20th. And I'm like, yeah, that's right, I am 20. I'm not 21. That guy was absolutely right in not wanting to serve me alcohol. So, interesting little mess up there.
I fortunately will be 21 on this next birthday. I will actually be 21 on September 19th, so we will we'll celebrate somehow. Now that's a Monday, so
We'll do something.
Yeah.
We'll do something. So now, okay, so I know I just said it was an interesting week. We talked about birthdays that are coming up, and we've talked about the 4th of July. Something you and I did this week. We watched a movie it's a Netflix original. It's on Netflix, so if you have Netflix, you should definitely check it out. It's called The Fundamentals of Caring with Paul Rudd and Selena Gomez, and I cannot think of the kid's name, the actor.
The kid's name either.
Fantastic movie.
Yeah, I was gracefully surprised. You know, it was dramedy essentially.
Yeah, it was a dramedy.
It was a you know, and I sometimes like them, sometimes no. I'm here, you know, neither here nor there about dramedies, but it was actually really good.
Very, very good. Well put together.
Yeah. The thing is, I don't want to give away the story, you know, what happens or anything. But I will say that nothing that you expect to happens.
That was perhaps my favorite thing about the movie. Hands down, was that
it
avoided every single. It veered away from every single.
The story is, Paul Rudd is a caregiver for this kid. He's actually really not a kid. He's a young man. He's a young man, and he's a quadriplegic. And I can't remember what his.
It's DHD, I think, is what.
Yeah.
So.
DMD. That's what it is. DMD. But he's a quadriplegic, and he takes care of him, and then they end up taking a trip. That's all I can really say. A road trip. But the only thing I can say about the movie that made it so really good is that nothing that you expect to happens.
It avoids all the stereotypical tropes
that you would expect of a movie with a quadriplegic in it, with a road trip in it,
with all the
women.
Everything. It avoids everything that you would expect to happen in those movies. I really appreciated that. It felt very original, felt very fresh.
Yeah, fresh is the word I was going to use actually.
It felt very fresh. So,
and I really like Paul Rudd. He's gotten better over the years. We were talking about
how Paul Rudd used to be Paul Rudd, but he's gotten really good. And you haven't seen Ant-Man yet.
No, I have not seen.
And I only saw it recently. And that is hands down probably my favorite Marvel movie.
Really?
It's just really, really, really good. So if you have Netflix, The Fundamentals of Caring, it was just released on Netflix. It's a Netflix original. Watch it. We definitely gave it a 5 stars. And it's worth your time. So now to turn to sadder news, something I wanted to talk about that is the passing of Eli Wiesel.
Yeah.
Or Elie Wiesel, who survived both Auschwitz and Buchenwald, and he passed away Friday day or Saturday day.
I think it was Friday. I can't remember for sure. Honestly, that's not a mistake. You know, I don't actually remember.
You know, of course, championing the cause for peace. He championed the cause of peace right up until the day he died, and championed the cause of making sure that something like the Holocaust never happened again. And was very vocal about things going on in the world, even up until the day he died. I mean, he was still meeting with presidents and world leaders. He was still speaking, still doing the work that he was passionate about, making sure that nothing like that ever happened again.
The article that we were reading, it said that, you know, they made mention of, they didn't have to, but they made mention of the fact that he, you know, up until the day he died, he still had tattooed his numbers on his arm.
A117, I believe, is what yeah.
So
now, did you read? Now, of course, most famously, he won the Nobel Prize in, I think, 1986, and he wrote the book Night. Now, have you read the book Night?
No.
Okay, I own it. You should borrow it. It is an incredible. I've read it a couple times actually, and I can't even imagine having the fortitude to survive what he survived and having the fortitude to deal with what he had to deal with. And he just had some very profound thoughts, very profound ideals. He talked about at one point, he talks about, in the book, he talks about his doubts about God. Why would God let this happen? And later on in his life, a journalist asked him, when you asked him about his doubts, do you not believe God? Did you abandon your faith? He said, no. And they said, are you sure you didn't abandon your faith? And he said, understand this. My faith was shaken, but that's all it was. It was shaken within the contents of faith. There was always faith. Shaken faith, but there was always faith.
Yeah.
And yes, to this day, I still have faith. I still believe in a God. And that's incredibly profound. So I'll go ahead and say it. Take that, atheist. If you're able to live through a situation like that and yet hold on to a belief in something higher than yourself, that speaks volumes to me.
Yeah.
So an incredible man. It's terribly sad his passing, but he did give the world a gift.
Yeah.
And continuing educating us about the problems that we face in this world, and ensuring this never happens again. So.
Yep, he'll be missed for sure.
Absolutely.
That's the best way you can say that.
So. It's just been really a very interesting week. Lots of things going on in both our personal lives and in the world.
Yeah.
Or in our country. So, now, something interesting. Earlier this week, you were giving me an idea for a project you are wanting to do with Andrew involving This Is Podcast. Can you hint at that for us? Can you tease it?
We want to make another PSA. But it's going to be a serious one in this case. It's going to be a music education PSA. It's not going to be like the last PSA. If you haven't seen the last PSA, go watch it. It's great. It's a Star Wars related PSA. It has been our most successful in the first 24 hours. So far, at least, it's been the most successful. We have something else creeping up on it right now on the successfulness. We have a
pipe tobacco review.
Our very first pipe tobacco review has been booming retrospectively. I mean, it's going up very fast, and that was just unexpected to us.
Yeah. So anybody that's watching this now that has previously watched the pipe tobacco review, thank you for helping make that a success. That is greatly appreciated. So, do you want to tease any more about it, or do you want to leave that there?
I'm going to leave it there.
Okay. All right. Excellent.
It's a really short one. So I don't want to tease too much, otherwise we'll just give away the whole thing.
Now, you were saying it's a music education PSA. And the thing is something I'm very, very passionate about is education. And mostly our education system is shit. I'm sorry.
No, it's true. It's very true.
I wish it wasn't. I wish that I could say that we have a fantastic education program here in the United States, but we don't. And things like music, obviously is a dying. It's a dying art. Of course, our art always takes the first
style
hit.
music, I should say, is a dying art. We talked about before. Right now we're in the age of fast food music, so music as it was, and I shouldn't say should be, because music is
it's left up to the interpretation.
High school style music, classical style music, classical and concert band music is kind of a dying art, and that's why a lot of people are moving away from it, and that's why a lot of schools are saying, oh, it's not a popular program right now, so obviously we'll get rid of it. It's not popular, not necessarily to the students, but to the viewer. Sports teams make a lot more money for the school than the music program does.
Right.
So.
Well, and I don't think it's just classical music. I mean, why aren't there classes called rock band? Where kids write rock music and learn how to play guitar and drums, and
probably because they think it'll influence them in a bad way.
Yeah, I mean, why isn't there
rock music?
Why isn't there like contemporary music or modern music where kids learn how to rhyme and rap, where kids learn the fundamentals of country and the fundamentals of R&B. I would imagine an incredibly popular class to take. I would have taken it in high school for sure.
Yeah.
And I didn't take any music programs because I am so musically retarded that
they have a music appreciation at the high school. At least at our high school, they have a music appreciation class, but they don't talk about that necessarily. They learn a little bit about guitar. And they learn hand drums.
Well, I can't help but think, obviously, and you were in marching band. Marching band has a certain stigma attached to it. Band geeks. And I'm not saying that's right. It's not.
I was a band geek.
I'm not saying
I
that.
am.
I'm not saying that's right. It shouldn't be, but it does have a certain stigma attached to it. Yeah. And if you had something like that, you might have a kid who maybe isn't interested in marching or in jazz band, but it involves them in a program or a class that, is very different, that maybe they do want to do. And my thing has always been, especially with like my oldest son right now, he's turning 15 here in a couple days. If he's not, smoking dope, having sex, drinking alcohol, racing his friends, if he's not doing dangerous, stupid shit that teenagers do, if he's doing something positive and he's doing something, like his wrestling, something positive, something productive, then the more power to him. And, there's just not enough programs for these kids, there's just not. So there are some things that I think that should absolutely be taught. Music of some degree, even if it's rock band.
Not the game.
Not the game rock band.
Go to class and just play on rock band the whole day. You just do this and press the keys. By the end, you should be able to play on hardcore mode.
So I think there should be that. I think there should be art classes. I think that art should be something that should be taught.
It's not just art and music. It's not just those. There's also classes that they currently have that they're trying to revamp in ways I personally don't think need revamped, or not in the way that they're doing it per se. There's the addition of Common Core in a lot of states. Ohio is one of them. We have Common Core, and that is, in my opinion, very unhealthy.
It's just plain stupid. I mean, there's no two ways about it.
There's the Common Core math. A lot of people talk about math because math is probably one of the biggest subjects affected by the Common Core idea. They're giving legitimately wrong answers. We're not teaching kids anymore to find the correct answer. We're teaching kids to guesstimate, all the time. And that makes me, what was the one question? It was like, what is 73 plus 30? The answer is 103. But 30 is a multiple of 10, so it's got a 0 at the end. There's 3, 0, and then 73 is close to 70, which is another multiple of 10. So when you add them together, it's 100. No, the answer is 103.
Right.
You should never, ever teach a kid that the answer to 2 plus 2 is 5. Unless you have a really legitimate reason to. But, they talk about calculus and all that. I don't know if that was, but, the 2 plus 2 isn't 5. So why is it that 30 plus 73 is 100? It's not. It simply isn't. And when you start teaching people that, they're going to take that to the rest of their life as a lesson they were taught that 30 plus 73 is 100. It is not 100.
Right.
And that's simple as it is. You can't teach a kid something that's wrong. Because when you teach them at a young age, they will be wrong for the rest of their life.
Well, I've always been a proponent of, if you're going to teach somebody something, you do it right. You teach them right.
You can't. Whether it's.
I
know that there are kids that it goes kind of along with the No Child Left Behind and all that. We have statewide testing and all that. You can't get out of high school unless you get a certain grade on this test that everybody took. But then there's testing. Some people are simply slower than others. Some people are, people have different backgrounds. People have different education backgrounds. Some people, their parents didn't teach them their ABCs when they were 4. But everyone, you can't change the curriculum to try to fit is to make sure to pass everybody along. It's not
Well,
about
I mean,
passing
now
people
they
along.
don't.
It's
Now
about
they don't fail kids. I mean, they don't fail
Yeah,
kids.
they don't fail kids anymore.
They don't fail kids, and I'm sorry. As much as it sucks, and it does suck. I'm sorry, it does. It sucks, but failure is part of life, and failure is something it's a necessity to learn.
Mm-hmm.
You need to fail. You need to fail at things because that's how you learn.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of people think today that if you fail a child, he's gonna feel like a failure for the rest of his life. If your child feels like they're a failure for the rest of their life because they failed getting 30 plus 73 right, then you're doing something wrong. I hate to say it that way. You're doing something wrong.
The teachers doing something wrong, or the parents doing
Teachers
something wrong.
and or parents are doing something wrong. I'm sorry. Are doing something wrong if their child thinks that they have failed because they got an answer wrong on a test.
Right. Yeah. Well, no, they did fail, but you teach them how they failed, and you educate them. This is how you do it right. And it's okay. Next time you'll get it.
I want to say they're wrong because, like you just said, I learned back in 5th grade. I think one of the best things I think I learned was the classic: you try, you fail, but the only true failure is failing to try.
Right.
I don't want to call it failure because you didn't fail, you just didn't get it right. So.
And that applies to every aspect of life. I've spent my entire adult life failing at things and learning to deal with that failure and learning to be better at it. The first time I failed something, somebody came along and said, okay, that's not how we do that. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, how do I do that? Well, this is how you do it. Okay, now I know, and I won't do it again. I'll fail at something new.
Yeah.
And so I'm constantly learning, constantly growing because of that.
But when you have an education system based on, you won't fail.
Right. So there's some other things I think that absolutely should be taught. Finances. It should be critically necessary.
I will say this. It is not in the statewide curriculum. However, a lot of people that I graduated with, they post all the time on Facebook and on all social media saying, "Oh well, I wish they had told me how to balance a checkbook. I wish they." Actually, truth be told, in Lancaster, we have to take an econ class which talks about stocks and all that, but we take a personal finance class sophomore year that does talk about balancing checkbook, that does talk about, but I will say this.
It's one class, though. It needs to be a 4-year.
But unfortunately, it doesn't matter because most people fail that class, they don't have to retake.
My thing is this.
Not most people.
My thing is this. It shouldn't be a 1-year class. It should be all 4 years of high school. Mm-hmm. From the time you become a young adult, 15, until the time you leave high school at 18, you should be learning the fundamentals of how to work with your finances, so that when you go, when you go out into the world, you know the dangers of using a credit card. Mm-hmm. What does credit mean? What does what are the real consequences of borrowing from a credit loan company? Mm-hmm. like a cash advance place. How do you balance your checkbook? Well, most people don't balance a checkbook. So how do you keep track using your debit card? How do you keep track of your money? That should be a 4-year course of just finances.
There was another course that you said they had at the high school when you were there. It was pretty much like basic living of life. Like they taught you how to. Well, they I don't know if you took it, but they're talking about like ironing clothes and sewing on buttons and stuff like that. You remember what that was?
No, I don't remember. We had home economics.
I think that's what it was.
When I was in junior high, it's no longer there. The home economics teacher at the junior high now is a science teacher because they don't have it anymore. Mm-hmm. And that's another one I think. I've always thought they should have a home econ class 4 years, mm-hmm. just like the finances. And it just goes over things like, things like changing a tire, mm-hmm. things like sewing a button on a shirt, things like making pancakes, making grilled cheese, things, just basic, simple things that,
See, unfortunately, me learning how gold reacts with silver in their minds is more important than how to put on a tire.
Right, exactly.
As when I first went to college, I was going for music performance. I would never in my life have to know how gold reacts with silver, which it doesn't. But I would never have to know how gold reacts with silver, or gold reacts with salt.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I have a veritable assload of knowledge implanted in my brain from high school
that you will never.
That I will never use. Okay,
Now-
why do we have seasons? It's because the Earth is tilted at a 21-degree angle. That does not matter to me. I've not used that fact at all.
Mm-hmm.
At all. It's a cool fact to know, but...
Yeah, I love knowing things, but I'd rather know how to do important things before things that are relatively irrelevant to my life and my career. As a law enforcement officer, which is my future plan, is to become a law enforcement officer now. I will never have to know how sodium reacts with neon.
Right.
You know what I mean? I just don't. I do not need to know these things.
Right.
For that. Now, yeah, if I'm going to specialize in
I'll go
science.
so far as to say this. You know, like a lot of times they push advanced level maths.
Mm-hmm.
I've never used any of my advanced level maths.
Oh,
I'm shit at math, but I gotta tell you right now, as a former chef, somebody who deals with measurements, I've never needed advanced level math. I've never needed anything as high as algebra.
Yeah, trigonometry is...
Yeah, anything trig, anything geometry, anything calculus.
I am not a what's the word for it? I'm not a cartographer. That's a map maker or anything. That's where I might use certain things. I'm not a home design. I'm not an architect. That's what I was looking for. I'm not an architect. So I'm not using that stuff.
You're not a rocket scientist.
Yeah, I'm not a rocket scientist.
You know, things like trig, calculus, I've never used anything higher than algebra. And algebra is a pretty advanced concept. You know, I have, 15 and 30, but I don't have x. Well, what is x? So,
15. Another 15.
Another 15. If it's addition, it's 15. If it's multiplication, it's 2.
Yeah. So.
But I've had to solve for x occasionally in my life because I've had 2 measurements but didn't have the third.
That's basic math, though.
That's basic math.
See, what they consider algebra is, we have the end, we have the beginning, but really, algebra is any equation.
Right.
Really, not having the end has to do with algebra. So, but still, it's something I personally don't use every day. Someday I might have to, as a cop, I may have to add the speeds that 2 people are going in their high-speed collision to figure out the overall speed of the collision. But other than that, I just don't see why I need to know the tilt of the Earth's axis. So, we are actually out of time.
We are out of time.
Maybe we'll have to touch back on this again, I think, because, we're getting passionate about it here, Josh.
We are passionate. This is something I'm incredibly passionate about. It irritates me that I have children going to school who are coming home and not learning anything.
Yeah, that's...
I'm gonna end on one last act before you call us out.
Mm-hmm.
During their testing 2 years ago, their state testing 2 years ago, my son spent a month watching movies while the 6th graders tested, the 7th graders tested, the 8th graders tested, and I was furious. I'm not paying my taxes for my son to go to school and watch movies. That's not why I'm sending him to school. And this is the generation of kids we're bringing up, and so I'm very passionate about it. We will come back to the subject. Guys, comment. Tell us what you think. What do you think of the education system? What are some of your stories?
Yeah, on your education system, wherever you are, it may vastly vary from ours. So please tell us
comment below. Tell us what you think of the education system on the whole, any anecdotes or stories you guys have, and I'll let you sign us out.
Yeah, well, until next time, I'm Eli.
I'm Joshua.
And this is Podcast.
Hey guys, did you like today's show? Go ahead and give us a like. It's that little thumbs up button right below, and don't forget to subscribe. And share with your friends. We'd love to have them see us too. So this is the show where we talk about whatever we want, whenever we want, and nobody cares. But we do care what you want to talk about. So go ahead and comment. Let us know what you think. And don't forget to check out our Facebook. This is Podcast. All right, guys. Looks like I'm back in the ring.